My name is Elizabeth Creamer. I'm a faculty member in the School of Education at Virginia Tech in Blacksburg, Virginia, where I teach graduate level courses in mixed methods research. I'm also the author of an in progress textbook that's going to be published by SAGE called Fully Integrated Mixed Methods Research. In this short YouTube video, I want to help you to understand a basic definition of mixed methods research that is used by social and behavioral scientists and researchers in applied disciplines, including nursing and the medical field. I'm going to do this. I'm going to explain the purposes of mixed methods in two ways. First, I'm going to use a contemporary example from the popular media to illustrate the use of multiple methods and the gains from it. And secondly, I'm going to highlight some of the key elements of a brief definition of mixed methods research. The example that I want to talk about comes from the United Kingdom and occurred in the spring of 2013, where a team of researchers were able to accomplish something that others had not been successful in doing for over 500 years. This team of researchers combined not only discipline knowledge but different methods to uncover the skeleton of Richard III that had been buried in an unmarked grave following his defeat on the battlefield at the Battle of Bosworth. To recover the bones, the researchers in the United Kingdom took narratives, document analysis, which is sometimes associated with qualitative research, and they identified the different locations that were mentioned in historical narratives and pinpointed those with GPS coordinates. Then they entered the GPS coordinates into a multiple regression to predict the location of the grave. They found it under a parking lot in the town of Leeds and were later able to identify the bones as those being that of Richard's because of the marked curvature of the spine that you see in this picture, as well as sort of the distorted skeleton in the leg bones. So he had scoliosis and was not a hunchback as Shakespeare portrayed him. So when you look at contemporary definitions of mixed methods research, I'm going to pull out three elements of it. It is distinguished both as a method and a methodology, and one of its key features is the integration of qualitative and quantitative strands of a study. When you look at it as a methodology, there are some basic philosophical assumptions that members of the mixed method community agree upon. The first one is probably the most important, and that is the view that qualitative and quantitative research are not separate and incompatible paradigms. It would really be difficult to do mixed methods research unless you ascribe to this particular philosophical assumption. The second strong philosophical assumption or rationale for using mixed methods is the idea that by integrating qualitative and quantitative data, you will end up with stronger, more in-depth, more complex insights. And third, a foundational assumption that makes it a methodology is conviction of the value of triangulation. And this is an example where qualitative and quantitative researchers tend to agree that when you have multiple data points or multiple types of data pointing to the same conclusion, then your results are really more valid. Mixed methods has its own set of methods above and beyond what might occur in the distinct qualitative or quantitative strands. And I'm just going to mention two of those. A good deal of the literature is devoted to talking about different types of prototypical designs. Creswell, Plano, Clark identify 5. More and more emerge as the literature grows. Another element of the methods of mixed methods is that very important central component of the definition, which is different strategies for mixing or integrating the qualitative and quantitative strands. This is absolutely central to any definition of mixed methods research. I've come to value the use of the Roman arch as a visual metaphor for understanding the central features of mixed methods research. You can begin first, if you think of the metaphor of the Roman arch, with these foundational assumptions that I've already mentioned, most important being that qualitative and quantitative research are not incompatible. They are not incompatible paradigms. And if we imagine each side of the arch, let's say the first side being quantitative, we begin with the design, data collection, and analysis, let's say, of the quant data. And then let's say we move on with the same in a sort of sequential design with the design, collection, and analysis of qual data. Finally, after we have both of those, we move on to the arch, which is where I think we could use this as a metaphor for mixing. So this is talking about a certain kind of mixing that might occur at the inferential level when conclusions from both the qual and the quant strand are integrated. This is one type of mixing, the type that is actually the most common, and that is where you see mixing at the inferential level. And I'm using the arch to represent that kind of mixing. A key feature of an arch that isn't shown in my little figure before is shown in this one. This is at the top of the arch is a keystone in this particular arch. It is shown right above the door. I see the keystone as an excellent metaphor for what Tashikori and Tedley call meta-inferences. Meta-inferences are when you integrate the inferences from the qual strand and the inferences from the quant strand into an overarching inference that really holds the whole argument together. So the keystone is a very good metaphor in my mind for meta-inferences. Well, there I'm wrapping up my brief definition of mixed methods research. I have one more YouTube plan called Designing a Realistic Mixed Methods Dissertation. I hope you found this helpful and look forward to further conversations with you.